This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's gonna be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
Since bursting onto the scene in the early 1980s, Madonna has become one of the defining music video artists of all time. Over her 4-decade career, she has put forward dozens of literally iconic videos to accompany her equally iconic pop music. Now the great pop culture debate wants to throw our very own celebration as we try to determine the very best Madonna video of all time. These days, I'm less La Isla Bonita and more the Isle Boniva. I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak. Please help me welcome my panel for this episode. His bedtime story is an immaculate collection of Madonna's finest. It's Derek Mekita.
We have everything: sex, matadors, blonde ambition, pissing off the church, a terrible James Bond theme.
Please do not besmirch Die Another Day in my presence. I will hear your confession on or off the dance floor. Next, please welcome Jennifer Chen, whose greatest thrift store find is a black sequin t-shirt dress with Madonna on the cover of Vogue. Jennifer, did you strike a pose in it?
I did. And I was shocked, I tell you, when no one else had bought it. It was on the sidewalk on a hanging rack for everyone to see. And I'm like, why is this still here? Why is it $10? Why is it still here?
People have no taste. That's why, Jennifer. Yes. So thank you and welcome back. Finally, be warned, during a key moment in this episode, his uniform will burst open and his bosoms will come flying out. It's Jonny Minogue.
Do you think that there are podcasters in this country that haven't seen my bosoms?
You remain in a league of your own, Jonny. And up in the producer booth, we have Curtis Creekmore, who has never had any problem expressing himself, I assure you. If you're curious about how we ended up with this Sweet 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast, or check out the bonus preview of this episode on your podcast platform of choice, in which we go through the whole bracket up to this point. And don't forget, you can head to greatpopculturedebate.com and find the listener bracket for this episode, as well as every single video we will be discussing in this episode, so you can play along at home. With that out of the way, don't just stand there. Let's get to it. Strike a pose and kick off these debates. First up, it's another unanimous decision in favor of ultimate number 1 seed Like a Prayer, which performed last rites for 4 seed Borderline. Next, the majority of the panel wants to Kiss You in Paris, and for 2 seed Justify My Love to continue. But I want to take another peep at 3 seed Open Your Heart. Jonny, get X-rated as you talk about the orgasmic impact of Justify My Love. I will see if I can turn the key to get some votes for Heart. Jonny, why don't you go first?
This was the first video of the MTV era that was banned and ended up being its own single. So one of the things that was great about the Justify My Love video was that it incorporated a level of sex that never was actually seen on MTV, which actually didn't end up being seen on MTV other than in very small clips. The amount of sexuality, bondage, the homosexuality, lesbianics, for lack of a better term, it was just pervasive. It was something that was almost more of akin to a softcore porn movie than it was to a music video. But who else would do it but Madonna? It was also extremely cinematic. It was beautiful. It was filmed in a hotel in Paris, per the lyrics of the song written by Lenny Kravitz, and it was one of those things. I actually showed it to my brother and his friends when he were kids. Like, check this video out. I know it's not, you don't like Madonna, but I think you will now. And all of his friends were obsessed with it. And so was I, for a very different reason. Another appearance with Debbie Mazar and Tony Ward, who was Madonna's boyfriend for a number of years, who also appeared in a number of other videos, including with Belinda Carlisle. And it is one of her just more stunning videos. It is beautiful. It is black and white. And one of the best things about that video that I enjoy is just there's a little level of humor in it that you don't see in a lot of Madonna videos. And I think that this really stands apart from a lot of her other work, which is very hard and and very visceral and has that sexuality, but it really has a lot of fun with it. She was having a good time when making this video. So Justify My Love is one of my favorites.
And I love it too. Let me be very clear about this. This is going to be everything in the Sweet 16 is great. I want to point out that they filmed this. There was no script. They just literally locked everybody in the top floor of a hotel, and no one else was allowed in and out. And they're just like, go. And let's just have fun. And you can see it in the video where like there's moments where she's in the background and she just starts laughing, and it's not her acting. Like she's just having a great time. But that moment at the end of the video where she's like, because it starts and she's this depressed woman who's been beaten down by life. And by the end, she's been banged out by so many hot people that she's loving it again, right? And she like runs away down the hall with like this grin on her face, biting her knuckle. When I left the last job I had, and I can't talk about it legally, but that was the gif that I used to like summate my experience of getting out of that job, was Madonna in the Justify My Love video running down the hall gleefully being like, and I'm out, suckers. So that being said, I'm voting against it. I just can't let Open Your Heart go without speaking about it. It's one of my very favorite Madonna videos. It is playful yet racy, and in my opinion, it's one of Madonna's first auteur videos, having debuted in 1986 from the True Blue album. Both of these videos were actually directed by the same person, Jean-Baptiste Mondino. Heart sets Madonna as a burlesque performer in a peep show as a variety of truly bizarre patrons scrutinize her with their mostly male gaze, and a child tries to both catch a glimpse of her and then emulate her. She's so striking in this video. The movements are precise, sometimes too precise, but the dancing is so effective. It's very come hither. It's very sensual, but not sexual, if that makes sense. At the time, I distinctly remember this video causing a great deal of controversy, and my mother certainly thought it was filthy, which is remarkable because the only things that come off in this entire strip show are her short black wig and her long black gloves. Everything else is completely covered head to toe. With that being said, I'm going to throw it. Derek, where are you on this one?
I think I am with Justify My Love here.
Okay. And Jennifer, it's Justify My Love versus Open Your Heart. Which one are you for?
I'm going to go with Open Your Heart.
Ooh, okay. So we now have a split decision, but ultimately it doesn't matter because Open Your Heart is a 3 seed, Justify's a 2. So Justify will move on into round 3. Most of the panel doesn't want to go for second best, baby, and wants 1 seed Express Yourself to proceed directly into round 3. But Derek has more modern tastes and is betting everything on 4 seed Nothing Really Matters. Jonny, grab your crotch aggressively while defending Express Yourself. I wouldn't want you to grab your crotch any other way. Derek, do not put on that kimono, but still defend Nothing Really Matters. Derek, I'm going to have you go first.
So again, Nothing Really Matters. It's Jean-Paul Gaultier kimono. That's what everybody remembers from this. And, you know, if you're fans of Drag Race, you remember that season 8, it was Kimono Gate. Honestly, I think I've said all I've had to say about Nothing Really Matters in previous round. I do think aesthetically it stands as a singular moment for Madonna, even more than Express Yourself, which does feel a little too close to Vogue for me. You know, I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, like when I was watching them back to back, that's where my mind was. I will tip my hat to Express Yourself. It is a fantastic video, and it does capture the essence of the song really well. So,
all right, thank you for that. We did mention, by the way, so Patreons can listen to round 1. I think it's very important to understand that we did mention in round 1 the Nothing Really Matters is emblematic of a lot of the cultural appropriation that Madonna has had throughout her career and her videos. We just have to acknowledge it. Yes. It was different at the time, and that's very important for people coming at it from a 2020s lens. This is very saturated in Japanese type of aesthetics. Beautiful, but there's the questions whether is that appropriate now. But in the early 2000s, nobody was having that conversation, or at least it wasn't happening in mainstream. Jonny, talk to us about Express Yourself.
Express Yourself. Hey. So let's talk about this video. It was directed by David Fincher, who is now well known as a fantastic cinematic director, and you can see where he got his chops started. So this is a reimagining of 1927's Metropolis. So it was a silent movie, and this is not the first time that Madonna has reworked movies of the past to her works. So she is the woman who is the owner and the overlord of this dark, rainy, post-apocalyptic world. She's sitting atop her throne as the entirely wet and very muscly workers and peons are working below her. She is walking around in her palatial apartment in juxtaposition of them in this nothing but steel and steam world. And one of the things that I love about it is that where she is being extremely kind of sexual, she's also being a little bit vulnerable. When she brings up the worker who she's been spying on, she has that a little bit of the resistance initially, but she ends up giving in to this guy who she has all the power over him in life, but in the bedroom, he has all of her power. Some of the visuals that have been used for many years were in other works, her licking the milk out of a dish just like a cat. And there's honestly, I know that Derek, you said it's a little too Vogue, but this was before Vogue. And I think this is one of her best. This is almost like its own little tiny movie. You don't necessarily even need to have the music on. You could listen on mute and just enjoy the symbolism and the cinematography of it. So let's go back to Metropolis and vote for Express Yourself.
I do think it's important to point out, as Jonny was describing those men, they were wet. They were also shirtless. There's not everyone in that town is allergic to shirts, and God bless Madonna. Jennifer, it's between Express Yourself and Nothing Really Matters. Where are you going on this one?
Express Yourself 100,000%.
I love Nothing Really Matters both as a song and a video, but to me, Express Yourself is one of the cornerstone Madonna videos. And I see where you're coming from when you say that it is similar to Vogue, and they both have that kind of classic Hollywood styling to them that was very deliberate.
Yes.
But they're, I think, very different in what they were approaching. So for me, it's Express Yourself all the way, and that will continue into round 3. Next, the bulk of the panel is into Danny Aiello and Keeping Their Baby, better known as 2-seed Papa Don't Preach. But I remain a meta whore for 3-seed Take a Bow. Jennifer, tell us why you've made up your mind about Preach. I will fight to the end for Take a Bow, and I'm going to go first. So this video, 30 years old this year, 2024, take that, is probably Madonna at the peak of her production influence. Director Michael Hausman shot for several days in 2 locations in Spain, with a suit designed by John Galliano, other clothes by Donatella Versace, and Christian Louboutin before Louboutins were a thing. The 40s styling and sepia tones make for a visually rich production value. Speaking of arresting visuals, that bullfighter's ass is exquisite. The storyline is that Madonna is an aristocratic woman in love with the bullfighter, played by actual Spanish bullfighter and actor Emilio Muñoz. She watches him in the arena, then again via television as he gets in the ring with a bull. They shot with 3 actual bulls for this video. And after he is victorious, he returns to her room and takes out his aggression on her. She leaves following his abuse, and then the scenario flips with him watching her longingly on a TV screen. The video won the 1995 VMA for Best Music Video and inspired a quasi-sequel with You'll See, in which Madonna walks out on her lover, again played by Muñoz, and he desperately chases her in an attempt to reunite. Madonna picked the Spanish setting as part of her audition process for the role of Eva Perón in the Evita film. So once again, this lady knew exactly what she was doing. Not only did this get her the part, but it was in heavy rotation on VH1 in the day. It is a critically important Madonna video. With that being said, I am going to pass it over to Jennifer for Papa Don't Preach.
Okay. The song is iconic, obviously. But what's iconic about the video is that she's doing something that literally I don't think any artist was doing at the time, of talking about teen pregnancy and like doing it in a pop song that we all sang and loved. And her and Danny Aiello have this amazing, beautiful relationship, and the way it's conveyed from when she's a little girl and she's a little older, and then she cooks for him, and it's wordless, and at the same time you get the whole story. I also really loved at the end, towards the end, when she finally tells him that she's pregnant, and he and her on opposite sides of the wall, and like the time motion of them sort of moving, showing the time that they're taking to finally think about it and then come back together, is like, to me, the beauty of that song in a nutshell is like, she tells him and he has to think about it, and he doesn't go into a rage. He's just like, okay, I'm going to take your hand. Let's do this. And I don't think anybody else was doing something like that at the time. And I still don't think anybody's doing something like that at the time, like now. Just the iconic image of like the dad just reaching out for her hand and not coming down in this like sort of angry, you might think he would have been like, oh my God, you ruined your life. But he still accepts her and loves her. Just genius.
And for the time that it was revolutionary. It really was. I do want to say before I pass it to the other votes that listening to some of these songs again today, and it's very important to understand we are specifically looking at the music video, not the song here. We did do the Best Madonna Song episode in our season zeros. Those are locked behind our Patreon paywall. You can go ahead and listen to it if you give us money. But this is specifically looking at the music videos. But listening to the song again today, it occurred to me, Papa Don't Preach is even more powerful in a post-Roe world than it was in 1980 whatever. It is actually incredibly relevant to the moment we are in. I heard shocking statistics about the number of rape victims who were impregnated since Roe was overturned. We're talking tens of thousands of women who are now being forced into giving labor who had no choice in the matter. It's crazy, but here we are. Derek, Papa Don't Preach versus Take a Bow.
So I think I'm still in the Papa Don't Preach camp. Take a Bow suffers from, again, the similarity with its sequel video You'll See. And for that reason, like from my uniqueness metric, you have to go with Papa Don't Preach because it's singular. It tells the story of the song really well. And I think it's the unique choice out of the two.
And Jonny, where are you? Papa Don't Preach or Take a Bow?
Italians do it better. Papa Don't Preach.
All right. The Danny Aiello of it all will continue into round 3. Next, it's another unanimous decision as 1-seed Vogue proved more mother than 4-seed Human Nature. But I would like to chat briefly about Human Nature as we didn't even discuss it in round 1. This is a video that is just weird and fun and goofy. It's Madonna kind of having fun with herself. She's in black latex. She has long black hair in it. There's little S&M influences. The dancing in the cubes is super hot, actually. It was a very cool video, but it's up against Vogue. And if you want to talk about dancing and super hot and really cool outfits, it's Vogue, baby. But I love Human Nature, and the part where she uses her riding crop and spanks her little chihuahua emblazoned into my brain for 30 years now. Hilarious. And we love you. Next, the panel is evenly split between 2 more modern Madonna classics, 3-seed Hung Up and 2-seed Ray of Light. Derek, tell us why Light continues to speed you up. Jennifer, why does Hung Up have you staying on the line? I'm going to have Jennifer go first here.
For me, what's so amazing about Hung Up is that I love that Madonna shows all these different types of dance. And these dancers are so amazing. Not only is she, stretching and doing her thing, but like everybody else she features are literally so good you cannot not look at them. And so it's one of those videos where I'm like, this feels like an homage to dance. It feels like fun, but it's also so fun to watch. Like I could not stop wanting to watch it.
It's from the album Confessions on a Dance Floor, and it is a song and a video that is all about the joy of dance. And I don't know if we have any other Madonna videos that actually do that.
And I feel like she shows how badass she is as a dancer. Like she does that in a lot of her videos, but this one with like, just she's saying that she loves dance. It just feels like this is her, like, I love dance music and I love every type of dance, whether I can do it or not. I loved that she highlighted all these other folks who are just doing totally different types of dance.
Yeah, I mean, Mama starts out doing Fosse in a ballet studio, and she ends up fucking slaying on Dance Dance Revolution in that video.
Yes.
It's amazing. That being said, Derek, talk to us about Ray of Light.
I know you love Hung Up, and I know it's iconic, but I'm about to lightly savage it, if you will.
Let's hear it.
So great song. For me, meh video. Images of parkour and gyrating youth with Madonna's attempt to show that she's still hip and limber as she ever was. This is one of those cases where the song is so much better than the video. And for that reason, Ray of Light still gets my vote here, because here's the thing. Confessions is a truly fantastic album. It's what we wanted from Madge after some real letdowns in the early aughts. But for me, the general aesthetics of this video were just captured better and deeper and deeper. So Eric, you mentioned before, like, what video better captures the element of dancing? I would argue that Deeper and Deeper does it for me. But sadly, we've already voted it down. So also, Ray of Light, the video, won a Grammy and 5 MTV Video Music Awards. How many did Hung Up win? Oh, that's right, none.
Because people have terrible taste. In Jennifer's dress. That's what I'm saying. Not that you have terrible taste for the dress, but no one else took it. That's what I'm saying. Jonny, where are you on this one? Is it's Hung Up or is it Ray of Light?
Well, Ray of Light won Video of the Year at the MTV Awards, so you have to go with Video of the Year.
Do you?
I mean, just look at Oscar picks. Look at Oscar picks.
That's
They're
right.
all wrong. They're all wrong.
It's true.
Wait, was it La La Land? Oh wait, no.
My argument with Ray of Light as a video is I genuinely just don't see what's so inherently special about it. Like the stop motion, it's not stop motion. What do you call it when they do the speed motion? I guess like it's time. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It's that thing that time lapse. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm over here drinking my Pepsi Zero, not knowing what I'm talking about.
It's the camera on cocaine. That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah. Like to me, it's a big meh, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we have it's split. 3 seed is Hung Up, 2 seed is Ray of Light, which means Ray of Light will move forward. Jennifer, I'm with you. We can agree to be right together, but Ray of Light will move on into round 3. Next, another 50-50 split as the panel is torn between 1 seed Material Girl and 4 seed Music. Jonny, pimp out the acid rock for your votes for Music. I will explain why nearly 40 years after its release, we are still living in a material world. Jonny, I'm going to have you go first with Music.
Hey, Mr. Eric, put a podcast on. I want to dance with my baby.
Done.
Boop. So let's talk about it. So in 2000, this was a bit of a surprise drop at the time before really viral videos would kind of drop without the internet. It's Madonna and her girlfriends going out to the strip clubs, and it's the world that I want to live in. It's unfortunately the last video that Madonna brought her actual friends Debbie Mazar and Nikki Harris along with her as they go from club to club and picking up random people to join them for a night of frivolity and craziness. When they change into the animated Madonna and she's flying through all of the names of her previous songs, it adds a little bit of whimsy and it's fun, and it takes away a little bit of the seriousness that was in the Ray of Light era, which was one of my favorite albums of hers, but it brought back a little bit of that fun earlier Madonna. She was just dancing, going to the clubs and putting dollars into the G-strings of the strippers, and Ali G singing a really bad version of Like a Virgin. You got me urging, that's a virgin. Could you put my record on, please? Thank you. And it's just, I think it's one of the last videos of the era before Madonna kind of took herself way too seriously, because there was still a little bit of fun. She's hanging out with her girlfriends and people that she actually enjoys. I think it still stands up. The song is of at that time, but it really was something was very different than anything else that was out at the turn of the millennium. And I still enjoy watching it every single time. And sorry, Debbie. Sorry, Nikki. I hope I can see you again at some point.
Right? We'd love to see you again. So if you want to talk about early Madonna and having fun, I give to you Material Girl. Material Girl was directed by Mary Lambert, and I think it was so smart and so crucial to have women working with Madonna on this project this early in her career. At the time, I think many people wrote off both the song and the video as, oh, she's comparing herself to Marilyn Monroe, which is partially true. And I think there's a case to be made for 80s Madonna being the closest thing we had to Monroe at that point. But the video also subverts the lyrics of the songs and the Marilyn trope by having Madonna explicitly referencing Marilyn's character from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, rejecting materialism, and instead being wooed by a beau who offers her simplicity and sincerity. It's actually quite a sweet story, which I think got lost at the time in the consumerism-focused 80s. Again, this is core iconography for Madonna. While she has distanced herself from the Material Girl title for some time now, I think the direct comparison to Marilyn made some people take her more seriously as a pop icon. And that is all this video is doing. She is electric in the Gentlemen Prefer Blonde segment. In my opinion, Material Girl is the moment Madonna signaled to the world, I am more than just a music video pop star. I'm a legitimate pop culture figure, and I have real power. This is foundational. In my opinion, Material Girl is as good now as it ever was. And I think there's really something to be said for Madonna always knew that the male gaze was focused on her, but she found a way to actually use that to empower her. And I think that is this video to a T. So Derek, where are you on this one? Music or Material Girl?
I think I am with Material Girl here.
Jennifer, Material Girl or music?
Material Girl all the way.
All right. Johnny, were you still sticking with music or are you going to switch your vote?
Oh, no, I was going to switch my vote. I love music, but compared to Material Girl, there really is no comparison.
Amen to that. All right. So finally in round 2, it's a battle of the lead singles as 3-seed Like a Virgin currently has the edge over 2-seed Frozen. Derek, thaw out the chilly reception to Frozen. Jennifer, do what you can to make sure Virgin makes it through the wilderness and into round 3. Derek, please go first.
Yes. So, again, to me, Frozen is the spiritual successor to Bedtime Story, which is kind of an ultimate for me that unfortunately got knocked out. It's very emblematic of that Ray of Light album and the kind of mysticism that she kind of pumped into it. She has that fabulous black Jean Paul Gaultier design dress that she's wearing in the desert in that video. And the production values are really high here. And it's hard to put something like this against Like a Virgin, which is one of Madonna's earliest music videos at a time when, frankly, the art form was just being born. But for me, though, as iconic as her look is in Like a Virgin, that's kind of where it ends for me. That's really all I remember about the Like a Virgin video is her look and the wearing the rosaries and the poofy skirt. And it's like, I think the song Like a Virgin is actually stronger than the video. And that's why I'm giving my vote to Frozen here.
Okay. Jennifer, where are you? Talk to us about Like a Virgin, if you wouldn't mind.
I think that this is just iconic Madonna. The outfits, if you think about if you were going to dress up as Madonna, that would be the outfit with the sleeveless gloves, everything. I mean, not the sleeveless, fingerless gloves. Oh my God, sleeveless gloves doesn't make sense anymore. But I also I think of remember the music video awards? She was writhing on the stage in the wedding dress. And I mean, you can't ever not think about Madonna and that wedding dress and that song and that video. It's just perfection. And I think too, the whole lion thing, I felt like when I was rewatching and I thought, is this are we supposed to just buy into this fantasy? And we are. I feel like it's her start into you can't not watch me. You have to watch my videos. I mean, I know it's early on. It's not production value heavy and all this stuff. But at the same time, she's dancing on a gondola in Venice. Who does that? Who does that in the getup that she was in and just kind of I don't care. I'm awesome. And I think it's one of those videos you're never going to forget.
And it was a quantum leap from her and everything she'd done up to that point. It really was a big jump. Johnny, where are you on this one? It's Like a Virgin versus Frozen.
I am going to just go with whatever comes out of my mouth, and I think I'm going to go with Frozen. I think Like a Virgin was one of those groundbreaking videos, but I think if you compare them, contrast them together, I think that it's better as Frozen.
Okay. And you know what? There's no bad answers here. So even if I voted for Virgin, it wouldn't matter. Frozen's a 2 seed, so it would advance into round 3. And that's it for the end of round 2, folks. We're going to take a quick break to look incredibly hot while swimming with mer people. We'll be right back after these messages.
$5 can't buy you much these days. In the 90s, a Big Mac Extra Value Meal rang in at $4.59. Today, that same meal will cost you $7.89 and leave you filled with regret. You know who would never do that to you? The Great Pop Culture Debate. For just $5 a month, our Patreon supporters gain access to a treasure trove of unaired content, like those secret fries at the bottom of the bag. So if you're hungry for some delicious pop culture content, pass on the Big Mac and head to greatpopculturedebate.com to become a Patreon supporter today. Now I'm hungry.
Everyone is talking about magnesium. It's all you hear about. But why? What do we know about magnesium? Well, magnesium is the number one mineral that 75% of Americans are deficient in. If you are a woman over 35, magnesium will help you rediscover balance, energy, and vitality. Magnesium supports more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including those involved in hormonal balance. From functional medicine doctors to mental well-being and female hormone experts, we all know that magnesium is the one mineral to improve all aspects of well-being and health. But which one? Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, the trusted choice recommended by leading experts with 7 best-absorbed forms of magnesium to ensure your body receives the support it needs for overall well-being. Go to bioptimizers.com/balance today and use code BALANCE10 for 10% off. Support your journey to wellness at bioptimizers.com/balance. Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, your foundation to optimal health and vitality.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And we are back for round 3 of our Best Madonna Music Video debate. Before we get into the Elite 8, I want our panelists to share their social media accounts, what else they're working on, and also the first Madonna video they remember seeing. I'm going to start with Derek.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Threads at DRKMKT. I am not currently working on any projects, but I'm trying to remember whether the first video that I saw from Madonna was Vogue. It might have been, because it was right around the same time that Dick Tracy came out, and I kind of get them a little jumbled up in my head.
Well, Vogue was from Dick Tracy. That's one of the things that people forget, is it was not on a traditional Madonna album.
Yes.
It originally came out with Dick Tracy, which is a banger soundtrack. We were talking about that in the break. Those songs are terrific, and Vogue initiated there and then was captured on the Immaculate Collection, which I think where a lot of people really heard it. But thank you. Great. Jennifer, socials, what are you working on? And first Madonna video.
Socials are Chen Writer at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I am working on my second book. My first book that's out is Artifacts of an Ex. It's a young adult romance. My first Madonna video I can remember is probably Material Girl, because I loved the color pink and I loved sparkly things. And I remember watching her and thinking she has all of the things that I like, and there's cute boys in it. So what else do you need?
In the 80s, literally nothing. So thank you. And by the way, I will say that there are many members of our podcast who have read Jennifer's book and they are obsessed with it. So please go find that now. Jonny Minogue, what are your socials? What are you doing? And first Madonna videos.
Thank you. Jonny Minogue, one word, no H, just like Kylie and Danny. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, TikTok, and now Blue Sky. And my very first Madonna video was Borderline. That was the first one I remember. It was at my grandparents' house because we didn't have cable. And I'm also doing a Club Cafe every Tuesday hosting trivia to 8 o'clock. Most of the time I'm on time. Sometimes I'm not, but sometimes I'm there on time. So that's what I'm doing. What's going on with me?
Very Madonna of you to be showing up a little bit off time. We'll just say it that way. Thank you. So for me, really, you should be following at Great Pop Culture Debate on Instagram or TikTok, or at GPCD on Mastodon. But what you absolutely need to do right now is sign up for our weekly newsletter, which comes out every Monday at noon. It tells you about everything new in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. For me, my first Madonna video, I think technically it probably was either Borderline or Like a Virgin, but in terms of the one that made like a seismic shift in my psyche, it was Material Girl. I was capital O obsessed with this video as a child, like could not get enough of it. So yeah, that's where I am with that. I've been with her since the mid 80s, and I'm tired and gay. So let's move on to round 3 so we can get back to cruising the canals of Venice with the Lion Man. The 80s were wild. In actuality, we may have a phenomenon that I've never seen on the Great Pop Culture Debate before, where we have more consensus in the final rounds than we did in the previous 2. First up, I believe it is a clean sweep for 1 seed Like a Prayer over 2 seed Justify My Love. I just want to go quickly around the horn to make sure that's true. Derek, you're with Like a Prayer here.
Correct.
Jennifer, you're with Like a Prayer here.
Yes.
Jonny, Like a Prayer.
Oh my God, I feel I'm falling.
That's the vertigo talking. But yeah, it is Like a Prayer, man. We haven't really talked about it much. We will talk about it more in our next round, but it will advance into the final 4. Next, it's 1 seed Express Yourself versus 2 seed Papa Don't Preach. I believe we do have some dissension in the ranks here. I'm going to go around the round backwards order. Jonny, is it Express Yourself or Papa Don't Preach for you?
It's gonna be Express Yourself.
Derek.
It's Express Yourself for me.
Jennifer.
This is very hard, but I'm going to say Express Yourself over Papa Don't Preach here.
Okay, so we actually do have another unanimous decision here. I think we do need to, again, highlight the statement that Madonna has always been political, either explicitly or implicitly in her music videos. I think it's a very deliberate choice. Nobody did what she was doing in the 1980s with especially the abortion stance. I think for me, the reason I'm voting for Express Yourself is not necessarily because I think it's a stronger message, although, hey, I love the message of Express Yourself too. If you're a horny person, go and find some hot trade and do it. But it is a beautiful video aesthetically, and it is icon work from Madonna in a way that I don't think Papa Don't Preach is. That's just my opinion.
I also think that having a string quartet on the Staten Island Ferry is very fanciful, and that's out of reality for me. That's where it takes it out.
As someone who lives in New York City now, a string quartet on the Staten Island Ferry would be beaten up and tossed overboard.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't happen. Yes.
Not an almost 30-year-old Madonna being a teenager. No, it's the string quartet at Staten Island Ferry. That doesn't make sense.
Amen to that. All right, so we will be moving Express Yourself forward. Next, it's 1 seed Vogue versus 2 seed Ray of Light. I'm going to start in the middle of the pack. Jennifer, Vogue or Ray of Light?
Vogue, 100%.
Derek.
I love Ray of Light, but no, it's Vogue here.
Jonny.
Vogue.
So literally every decision is unanimous thus far. We are moving Vogue into the final 4, and it is unanimous again, I believe, for 1 seed Material Girl over 2 seed Frozen. But let's start, Jonny. Is it a Material Girl for you?
That's right.
That's right. Derek.
Yes, it's definitely Material Girl.
Jennifer.
100% Material Girl.
This round was like a quickie in the back alley, and I feel like this is our erotica era. So there you have it, folks. We have our final 4. We're going to take a quick break to reinvent ourselves again. We'll be right back after these messages.
Enjoying this episode? Did you know there's a playlist of songs to go along with it? We make them for most of our music-based episodes, as well as weekly collections of our favorite songs, past and present. Head to greatpopculturedebate.com and click on the bonus section, where you'll find tons of curated playlists to pair with your podcast experience. Happy listening.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello everyone, I'm Kit Costello, the host of Self-Interrupted, a podcast that really makes you think, maybe my love life isn't that bad after all. Maybe this part wasn't actually meant to be left in the episode. Maybe Kit's spending way too much time talking into a microphone in their parents' farmhouse and should go outside and touch some grass and breathe in air. Judgments aside though, Self-Interrupted is truly my everything, my diary. It's almost like a voice note I would send to my friends. You can join the community of Kitnators in the KCCU, the Kit Costello Cinematic Universe, by listening to Self-Interrupted every Wednesday wherever you stream your podcasts.
And we are back with the final four of our best Madonna music video debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it matches up with where I thought we were going. And for one of the very few times in the history of this podcast with more than 100 episodes, all four one seeds have made it to the finale. That's actually genuinely a rarity. So it's one seed Like a Prayer versus one seed Express Yourself, one seed Vogue versus one seed Material Girl. Not only am I not surprised to see any of them here, I also think the seedings were correct. If I had to pick four videos that encapsulate Madonna, those would be the four. You've got two from the 80s, two from the 90s. Am I right about that? Express Yourself might have been late 80s, but it's basically 85 through like 92, right?
Yeah, it's actually three of them, Like a Prayer, Express Yourself, and Vogue, all came out within 1 year of each other.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
The power of that woman. It's just incredible. We are going to start going around the horn. It is one seed Like a Prayer versus one seed Express Yourself. I'm going to start with Derek Mekita. Where are you?
I love the video for Express Yourself, but the sheer power and cultural impact of Like a Prayer cannot be denied. And the one thing I will say about it, even I'm confident it's moving forward, but the one thing I will say about it is I actually think without the video for Like a Prayer, it wouldn't have had the cultural impact it had if it was just the song. Because if you just listen to the song, it's kind of like, it's a great song, but everyone remembers that video. Everyone remembers the cultural moment that was and the controversy behind it. So no, I think it needs to be Like a Prayer.
Okay. Jennifer, Like a Prayer or Express Yourself?
I'm voting for Like a Prayer. And not only was it iconic, but it was also one of the few times I remember, I mean, she explicitly says that the Black character is picked out of a lineup simply because of his race. And, you know, she's the one who goes to the police and like corrects what happens. And I mean, I don't think anybody else was doing that then. And it's funny because I remember the controversy. I remember she was a Pepsi spokesperson and they took it away because of this video, which I don't know why anybody was, why Pepsi was such a thing. Anyway, but I do think that video is one of those moments where you're like, she is saying so much more than the song is saying with this video. And you cannot not have an opinion about it. And I know people obviously were outraged by her, you know, all of it. But at the same time, I'm like, she always pushed the envelope in terms of what she was talking about. And she always made sure that you knew exactly where she stood on things. There was no like gray area. It was like, this is where things are and this is how I feel about it. And I love that she's just in that video. You cannot forget it. Like I don't think anybody would ever forget that video just watching it once. Yeah. So it's just iconic.
It literally sticks with you, much like a cross in the ground that's been lit on fire. Jonny Minogue, where are you? It's Express Yourself versus Like a Prayer.
It's Like a Prayer. One of the things about that video I found out, I think it might have been a pop-up video back in the 90s, was that when they were filming the video with the crosses burning, there were people who had called the police and was reporting it as a hate crime, even though it was just part of the music video sets. And that doesn't happen all the time, but most artists wouldn't put themselves into a place where they would create such controversy that people would think that actually something nefarious is happening. I will also say with that video is that it's like with the gospel choir, it wasn't the gospel choir that initially recorded it. That was Andre Crouch, but when he heard about the video, he didn't want to be a part of it. So
wow,
it's fascinating what she can do. And absolutely fabulous. It was quoted, and it's something lovely. And Safi goes, "Who wrote that?" "It's Madonna, darling. It's Madonna. When you call my name." That's what happens. She's the power of Madonna knows no bounds, and it's like a prayer.
Very true. So I just want to double check when you're saying, because my question was, what came first? Was the gospel choir a part of the song prior to the video being set in a historically Black church, or was it the other way around? Do you happen to know the answer to that?
They recorded it first.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, was it always intended to be the gospel choir, which then informed the video? Or were this like, we're going to do this video that's going to have this message, so we're going to have a gospel choir that's a part of this song?
And it was also some of what she was doing at that time, and they decided that they did not want to be associated with Madonna. A gospel. I was like, what, a church wanting not to be associated with Madonna? What a shocker.
Yeah. So I do want to point out that it's not just controversy for controversy's sake, right? And I think that's something that got lost for Madonna, especially in the 90s, where she was routinely getting drubbed for, oh, what's she doing now? She's being provocative to be provocative. As we said with Papa Don't Preach, which preceded this, she was making statements about the state of the world in pop music in a way that very few other artists of that time were. And no one was doing it, I think, with a level of success. Jackson certainly was having some message songs, but Madonna was doing it in a way that was both impactful, specifically this video, but also really great music. Like Heal the World is not really great music. I'm sorry. Like a Prayer's great music. And the video, you're right, Jennifer, you have to watch it one time and it really does stay with you. There's so many elements of it. And I remember being a kid and being like, Jesus is Black? Like literally, that's the level of like awareness, right? But if you're some small town kid in America who had zero exposure to gospel music, it was really the first concept of racial profiling I'd ever seen or even thought of. Now, is it still happening? Did it change the world? No, it didn't, but it did bring awareness. Also, fun fact, Cynthia from Real Housewives of Atlanta, her former paramour, is the person who played Jesus in that video, which I always thought was a very cool little thing to hang her head on. I do want to point out, Pepsi had a couple bad years in the 80s because not only had they hired this with Madonna and then backed out of it, it also had the catastrophic Michael Jackson burning himself in a Pepsi commercial. And I have to say to that, Joan Crawford would never have allowed this to happen. Never. With that being said, it is a clean sweep. Like a Prayer is one of my all-time videos. It is sexy. It is rich. It is luxe. It's funny, Johnny, I'll be very candid here. I never got that she was the owner of the plant. I always thought she was the wife / girlfriend / mistress of the old dude with the monocle running it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've been misreading it the whole time. Do you know?
I was always the way I always watched it, that she owned the plant, he was the supervisor, and that he was overseeing everything. But
okay,
to each their own. Yeah, that's just my interpretation. Could be wrong.
Who knows? All I know is she was lipping up that milk. She looked really hot in the sheets. She was picking out rough trade from the slums, and that's the life I want to lead. So, well, that being said, we are moving Like a Prayer into the final two. And next, it's One Seed Vogue versus One Seed Material Girl. I'm going to start back of the pack, Jonny Minogue.
It's Vogue. It's Vogue.
Strike a pose. Derek Mekita.
Yeah, it's Vogue for me. When you look up the word iconic, which we use a ton in this podcast, if you look up the word iconic in the dictionary, you will absolutely find Vogue printed there. The song and the video are very equally matched. The polish on this is gleaming. This is the iconic Madonna reinventing herself for the 90s, and it's right at the beginning of the 90s, so it's just like portending the things to come.
Jennifer.
It's tough because I have love for Material Girl, but it is Vogue all the way. I had a Vogue poster in my room with the one where she's like, I bought that at the CD shop, record store, whatever it was called, and had it on my door so that whenever I'd play the song, I would look at it. So I mean, really, it's Vogue.
I will be the dissenter here, and I actually would continue to still vote for Material Girl because I do think there is something to be said for the power of that video launching a career. Now, I have been dinged in the past, specifically I think of the Pixar film episode, for allowing primacy to override other arguments. And thank you to the people who have responded to this podcast and told me how wrong I was. I agree with that. But I don't feel I'm wrong here. Vogue is amazing, and I'm glad it's going through. It doesn't matter. It's continuing to the final two. But I do think that Material Girl stands up, especially for a video of its time. And she, in it, you can see her really starting to tap into her power as a pop culture icon. And there's something very special about it. I do think it has to lose some points because she herself is like, I really don't want to be associated with that anymore. That's not who I am. It's not authentic to the pop artist I am, in a way I think that Vogue probably is. But I still would vote for it here. It doesn't matter. It's a final two of 2 1 seeds, Like a Prayer versus Vogue. I'm going to start in the middle. Jennifer, this one's for the whole Megillah. I don't think Madonna has Megillahs, but Like a Prayer, or is it Vogue?
This is really, really tough, but I am going to go with Vogue because Vogue was, first of all, it's from a soundtrack of a movie, like not on an album. It was iconic and played constantly. And I watched the show Pose, and they referenced Madonna's Vogue video and how that uplifted the ballroom scene. I mean, she was doing some heavy lifting with that song, and it came from the Dick Tracy soundtrack. Like, she can make magic out of just anything. And I think Vogue is one of those. So she pulled from underground dance that and brought Vogue to the mainstream. She also brought in dancers who were just gorgeous when they were dancing in Vogue and showed the world what that meant. And who cannot forget that in that whole little, not rap that she has, but the names, you know. I just feel like that section of that song is just so perfect, and it's just iconic.
If you were a teen in the 1990s, you knew every word to that rap from that segment of that song. It's in your DNA. You still know every word. You didn't know who those people were, but you knew every word. Jonny Minogue, is it Vogue or is it Like a Prayer?
It's Vogue. It had that cinematic experience that was referencing to all of the movies of those people who were in that rap. It's some of the first time some of the people even knew who, Greta Garbo was. They knew who Marilyn Monroe was. I thought DiMaggio for years was a movie star, and then it's like, no, he plays baseball. And I'm that fag that doesn't know. And then Lauren Catherine Lanitou. Who is Lauren Catherine Lanitou? I've never heard of her.
That's a great drag queen name, by the way. Lauren Catherine Lanitou for season 17 of Drag Race.
Yes, and it's James, we love you. Joan Crawford is rolling in her grave that
she's so furious,
so mad. Second time she brought up on this, but there is something about Vogue that makes it so special and timeless. Being black and white and having all of the people she was dancing with in Blend Ambition. They just took a couple days off, did the video, came back, and I had a good time, went back on tour. And it's sweet to watch, especially after seeing the Celebrations tour and seeing the picture of Gabriel, who died from AIDS, and how she was remembering him in the Live to Tell section. And then I saw him in Vogue. I go, oh my God. So it's just one of those, it's a piece of time that only can be done in Vogue. And it's the most Madonna video of all time. And that's, for me, I will always go with Vogue.
And only Madonna could do this video. Can you imagine any other music artists doing that video from even that time or now?
Maybe Debbie Gibson.
How dare you, sir? Derek Mekita, is it Vogue or is it Like a Prayer?
So I'm going to throw you a curveball here because I think in my original brackets I had voted for Vogue here. And I do think that from a nostalgia pick, Vogue would be my selection. But I'm also putting it through the rubric of what stands alone as one of the most iconic videos apart from the song itself. And for me, that's Like a Prayer. It tells more of a story. I'd argue without the video, she wouldn't have got caught up in controversy the way that she did. The visuals of the video did that, not the song. The song is amazing, and in some ways, it's a bigger hit than Vogue. And I actually think if you go back to the charts, Like a Prayer is actually a bigger hit for her than the song Vogue. The video, the visuals, the message, it sticks with you. I think, we are all of a certain age where Vogue is kind of like the more iconic pick for us. But I do think that the better video and the more singular Madonna pick would be Like a Prayer. And I don't think that there's any other artists in that time or even into the 90s, frankly, that could have done what she did in Like a Prayer.
So initially I had voted for Like a Prayer. And then you guys all swayed me over to Vogue, if I'm being honest. I think there were some very compelling arguments here. And then Derek swayed me back over to Like a Prayer. So life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. That's what I have to say to that. I do want to talk a little bit, because I haven't really spoken about Vogue, but only one of these videos is so culturally important that it has its own spin-off documentary about not only the filming of it, but then what happened to the people who filmed it. And that is Vogue. That is an actual documentary that's currently doing the gay film festival circuit as we speak. Like a Prayer does not have that. It has its own history and its own background, and it's all of its interesting elements as well. One is a super controversial video. One of them is more a cultural impact video, because as Jennifer pointed out correctly, in this video, Madonna elevated an entire art form and an entire subculture that without this video never would have gotten any play. And I would argue that that's the video, not the song. I don't think, white people on a dance floor in a wedding can do Vogue, right? They do this. The video showed us what actual voguing is, not noguing, as Aja would tell us. So I do think it is culturally impactful. I'm genuinely torn on this, and it is rare that I get to a final two where I am really ambivalent. Derek?
Well, Eric, the one thing I will jump in and say, and the one knock that I do have against Vogue, and I can't believe I'm really even bringing this up, is I think that, was it the VMAs or the Grammys performance where she's in the Dangerous Liaisons, like 18th century garb, that performance of Vogue, that live performance in my head sticks just as much as the actual music video. And to me, that takes away from the video as a piece of iconography when you're thinking about those dancers doing what they did in that live performance. And I think, again, if you just boil it down to a singular video, its cultural impact, would Madonna have had as much cultural cachet as she did had she not drummed up that early controversy? And you're talking about Papa Don't Preach and Like a Prayer were the big ones. I would still give it to Like a Prayer here.
It's these are good arguments, and that's why I love working with all of you. Jennifer, are you still stuck with Vogue?
I feel like Derek is swaying me, but I don't know.
Here's the thing, there's no wrong answers here.
Yes,
They're both equally iconic in their own ways. So whichever way you go here will be the correct answer.
I am not, by the way, giving it a tie. I'm not pulling a Muppet here. Johnny, are you still stuck on Team Vogue?
I'm on Vogue, and to your point, Derek, she made not one but two amazing videos that stand on their own, and one is just that live performance in the Dangerous Liaison. For me, that doesn't take away from the original, because that is an encapsulation of her Blonde Ambition era and the ballroom, and I think that in a way is something that has long lasted. And I have seen plenty of white people at weddings try to dance to Like a Prayer too, and I don't think they understand what they're doing. I don't think they have any clue what they're dancing to, but they're still having a genuinely good, if not cringy, time.
I mean, what's more authentic than that? White people having an authentically cringy time at a wedding. Jennifer Chen, final answer for you. Which one are you going with?
I'm going with Vogue.
Jonny Minogue, final answer for you.
Vogue.
Derek Mekita, final answer for you.
It's still like a prayer for me.
I think both are equally strong, and because we have to end this episode, and Madonna would want us to end this episode, I'm giving it to Vogue with the understanding that it is right here. Like,
yes.
Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. It's Vogue, and Like a Prayer is the Holy Spirit. So with that being said, there you have it. Our pick for the best Madonna video is Vogue. Do you agree? Do you think we need to justify our intelligence? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast. You can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. If you really enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to like and rate it on whatever platform you listen to. I want to say thank you to my panel. I cherish the joy you bring into my life, and thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We can get even more exclusive content, like our best Madonna song episode, which I don't remember what won, by the way, and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one, and remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. Strike a pose.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.